This is the Pinemen.
Hello,
Hey
everyone.
everybody.
Welcome to another episode of the Pinemen. Thanks
Yeah,
for
what
joining us
episode are we on
again.
now? What is this episode 10 or 9?
9.
9.
Yeah,
Nice, working our way through.
yeah, almost
So
up into
how's
double
everybody
digits.
doing today?
Hope they're all doing well. Each and every one of you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you checked out our nice our viral TikTok, man. I mean, that
Yeah.
thing got like 800 views or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Get in
talking
on the
about
TikTok, man.
talking about the plants. Yeah, we got to diversify.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a live performance of that when we do our first live show. Hopefully, we'll be able to book it at Madison Square Garden. Yeah. How are the plants? How are the plants? How you doing? We doing good, or whatever. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we doing good.
I love it.
What genius fucking shit, man.
So yeah,
I was listening to I like put my on the computer. I put like my iTunes, like my all of my music on like shuffle last night, and I was like laying, just like listening to all this different stuff, and I was just getting really into it.
yeah.
You ever have those days where you're just like, wow,
Oh, your own music. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, for sure. But usually when I do it, I never finish my stuff. So I go through my voice memos on my phone and just like
mm,
put it in and I just like listen to the process. I'll listen to like
yeah,
the moment that I first like I'll title it like cool idea or like cool song question mark or like and then go to the next one and I'm like I see the progress. I'm like, "Oh man, yeah, that's how it started. Oh, I remember this." Yeah, like and then I
I
see the
know,
end and I'll title it like use uh like big bass swells behind this or something like that. I'll title it that. I'll be like, "Oh, that would be good. I need to make that happen." And then I don't. It's pretty sick.
well, you should.
Yeah,
I support that decision.
I think I will. But I always think I will and I don't. But hey, maybe things are different this time. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe things will be different this time.
Yeah. No, I mean, it really might be. I've been feeling different in a good way,
Yeah,
you know.
same. I've been feeling really motivated lately, which has been nice.
Yeah, cool.
Been feeling good. Just like trying. I'm just like, if not now, when? Eric,
Yeah. Yeah.
come on, come on.
Yeah.
Because my whole life I've always been like, I got time.
Yeah, right.
But do I? I don't know.
Yeah, it is kind of a big realization when as the years go by and your age, the number goes up. It's like,
Yeah,
man, like what's going on here? Like
yeah,
time is just running out. I mean, it's like but that could be a motivating thing instead of like a depressing thing, of course.
yeah. You got to try to look at it as a motivator because yeah. Otherwise, what's the point, right? You're like, God, I guess I'm just a failure, and then you are.
Yeah, I guess so.
you know,
That's pretty much it.
I
Yeah.
think I definitely, I'm definitely planning on going out trying.
That's a good way to be, I guess. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like with like the COVID lockdown and being like,
Oh,
wow,
yeah.
this is what it's like to be a person without having to like go to a job every single fucking day.
Yeah, it's a weird, like Stockholm syndrome type situation in a way. You know,
Mm.
you hear people say it all the time, like, "Oh, I wish I could just get, maybe if I just got myself a little job, I could like, it'll give me something to do, maybe occupy my time." It's like I'm such a hypocrite because I kind of feel that way a lot of the time, and I have felt that way a lot of the time. But at the same time, but whenever I'm in that situation where I have to go to work every day, I'm like, oh, if only I didn't have to do this, then I would finish all that stuff and I would really make the
Yeah,
things happen that I really want to make happen. So it's, the grass is always
yeah.
greener sometimes, I guess.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's tough because yeah. Well, even like you start your own business and then you have to deal with that.
Yeah, true.
It's like the thing I've always like kind of championed like work a little bit as like, yeah, the good thing about that is that you go there and then when you leave, you're done. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
But like we've talked about a million times on this even and in private, like like separating like your life purpose from the way that you make your money is spiritually damaging.
Yeah, I mean, my boy Carl said it best, right? we I think we've talked about that like last time too, about separating the work from like I forget how he exactly
Oh
says it,
yeah,
but you know what I mean? Like
exactly. Yes.
separating the work from like the person themselves. Like the labor is your expression in this world, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we want to do these things. It's not just
Yeah.
laziness that, you just don't want to work because you want to sit around and literally do nothing. I mean, sometimes, sure, but for the most part, it's just I want to do something that is, you know,
Yeah.
feels like what me doing things, not just like, all right, let me check out mentally and emotionally for the next 8 to 10 hours or whatever, and then when I'm done, I can be a person again. Like,
Yeah, and by that I mean like go home and watch Netflix for a few
right,
hours
exactly.
while
Then
eating like a frozen dinner and then fall asleep, wake up feeling a little bit sick and go back to work,
exactly.
trying not to like literally violently attack every person on the road who gets in my way for 5 seconds
No,
and delays
exactly.
my travel by another 2 seconds.
Seriously, that's exactly right. And yeah,
I mean, that's what like it's like you gotta like if you take 1 second to think like, what is this for? I don't know if it's obvious what it's for.
the working or life.
Like the way that society is currently set up,
Hmm.
generally, it's like a lot of people are doing things that we would not have to do if we didn't fundamentally care about the wrong stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, well, we got to make the lines go up on the Dow Jones, man, and the
I know,
Nasdaq.
right?
That's what we are here for, and that's your proud service as an American and as a
I know, but
citizen of this earth. That's why we were put
it's
here.
it's so sad. It's so
I know.
sad because like think about like a life where the only real jobs are like farming.
Right? In a
Those
way.
are like those are like the important jobs. It's just farming, and they get paid, or like they maybe not even paid. I feel like we should go back to a trade based system.
Yeah. Well,
I feel
like actual trading goods for like
yeah.
no currency. Like,
I feel like if there was a way to like guarantee food and shelter,
mhm.
and then like everybody in their free time would just like trade luxury items.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and when you say luxury items, you mean anything other than like the necessities for survival, right? Like,
Yeah, there's like a
yeah.
guy that makes boots.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like a lady who makes like decorative art,
Yeah.
and there's like all the different there's people who make electronics and make computers and stuff too.
Yeah.
But everything is like a one for one type of deal.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I mean, I guess some form of currency, it has its place, of course, right? Yeah, but that would be interesting
Well,
because
I mean, currency is an abstraction of production,
yeah,
and it's like if people, it's interesting. I don't know. Like we talk about capitalism and we talk about like how what like capitalism increases innovation, right? That's a big saying that people use, which I don't necessarily agree with, but
yeah,
I think people are naturally innovative. I don't think that they need to have a reward to want to make new stuff generally. And I feel like most people who have innovated the most have not been rewarded for their innovations anyway.
yeah. That's actually true, right?
And like I remember I watched something recently that pointed out something that's obvious, but you don't think about it. It's like with like Elon Musk, right? People say like, oh yeah, no, but he came up with a new thing,
Right.
so he deserves all the money that he got for making the thing.
Yeah, yeah, of
And
course.
it's like, okay, but like, did he?
Right, exactly.
From scratch, he came up with that whole thing. No,
Yeah,
because everybody there's hundreds of people who have contributed to what it takes to build a car from scratch.
right, exactly. If my family had a mine in South Africa using slave labor, and they gave me a couple milli to start my brilliant idea of like, what about cars, except electric or something, and then the government subsidized me millions of dollars and all this stuff, and I had connections for lobbyists that can like make laws that are going to make it like so that my company is being once again like subsidized by the government and stuff. I don't know. I think I can probably make some things happen too, and people would say it's my idea. I'm just saying
Yeah.
me, but I think everybody could come their idea, their brilliant idea could actually become something. And guess what? It's not like it's not like Elon Musk sat there and said, I was tinkering around in my basement and I built a battery for this and this is going to work. No, if I had engineers that I could pay incredible salaries so that they can do it for me, then yeah. And I keep saying me, but I'm just saying I mean everybody. Just but hey, that's just but hey, they took the risk. You got to understand. They took the risk. And you
Yep.
didn't take the risk, and that's your fault because you didn't have the millions to start off with to take that risk. So
Yeah.
instead, it's a zero risk situation that you live in when you sign a lease to a land with a land like you sign a lease for a land with a landlord to rent, and that's your shelter, and they can do pretty much whatever they want with you while you're living under their roof, and you agree to a contract with an employer. That's not risky to you, you know what I mean? Like, if you
Yeah. Right.
lose the job, you just get another one. If you lose the apartment, you get another one. And there's a zero risk situation going on with you, you know what I mean? Come on. He's the
Good
one who took the
point.
real
Good point.
risks. He's risking something bigger than we could ever imagine. He's risking going from being a owner to being just like us. That's what happens if his risk doesn't work out for him. He becomes just like you.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. That's
Oh
why
no, he's a regular guy.
exactly. I love that.
And I mean, I'm not trying to say that Elon Musk isn't like intelligent because he definitely is. He has had good
Sure.
ideas, but like whether or not like having good ideas is equal to having obscene wealth,
Right,
I don't know.
exactly.
I'm not sure.
In fact, the
And
point
I feel
is
like most of his money comes from owning stock in his own company.
exactly. That's the thing.
It's
They
not like
don't
it's not like a direct like one for one. Like I've sold all of these cars and the money came. I built them by hand myself and I sold them and I made all of the money because then I'd be like, I'm not going to take that money away from you. Of course not.
Oh yeah, whatever. I mean, that's a whole another thing. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That doesn't happen. Period. Like it's just it's just like that. Like
Yeah,
they
it's insane too. Like the tax system in our country is wild because it like seemingly is like a deterrent to start a business in the first place.
yeah, of course, exactly. Like I know
And then
someone,
like, but go ahead.
you know them too. It's Rob, and he has a brother, and they
Hmm.
started a business, and it cost like to start that business. It cost thousands of dollars, and so much time just to get like licenses to even be able to start it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And granted, I mean, it's a kind of a semi-construction type business, not exactly, but it's like building things. I don't know, as if like they're gonna get doxxed or anything like that, but you know what I mean. It's like they basically make
yeah,
like water
yeah,
features and like build ponds and water features and stuff like that for people.
yeah. Basically like sculptures, water sculptures.
Kinda. I
Kind of
mean, in
right,
a way.
right.
I mean, it's like they make like
Cool stuff.
waterfalls and like stuff for people who want to, look good
Yeah,
and, enjoy it or whatever, hey, but
yeah. No, I
that's,
think it's cool
yeah.
stuff.
And it's all
Perfectly
good.
reasonable business idea.
Yeah, no, hey, I mean, they want to do their own thing rather than have to work for someone else for their whole life. Good for them. I
Yeah,
mean, but yeah, I'm just saying, like the amount that they had to, and they did it and all that. Don't get me wrong, but the only reason they were, I mean, also, oh God, I keep forgetting that happens. But part of the reason why they were able to do that is, and don't get me wrong, it's the work of them that they financed it themselves with, but it's just a situation where they had a starting off point that wasn't like, oh, I have money laying around, so let me do this. But he had a good job already that paid him a good amount, and he has a super flexible schedule that he can work out for himself and all this. But yeah, he had to basically save a whole bunch of money up over the course of several years by working a job that he despises and absolutely hates. And honestly, he says the motivation for even starting it was because he's like, if I have to keep this job forever, I'm not gonna want to live a full life. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, I know,
You know,
right?
I can't do this forever. I can't. And
Yeah.
so he's like, I gotta do something else, you know? So,
Hmm.
you know, I know we're talking about risk and stuff like that, but hey, I mean, yeah, it's a risk. But the what happens if it fails? He just continues doing that job. You know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
everybody else does. And I'm not criticizing him in any way for not liking it or trying to change the situation. I think it's good. I mean, good for him. It's
Yeah.
awesome. But I'm just saying, it's like if people aren't in the situation already where they can save up many thousands, like many thousands of dollars by just being really like basically dedicating themselves to being like, I'm not going to do pretty much anything except save my money and work for a long time. Not that they don't do anything, but not make any big expenditures. Like, this is it. I'm pretty much dumping everything into this, is what I'm trying to get at, you know?
Hmm.
And, you know, not that I wouldn't feel. They're different. I mean, it's not like they're different from Elon Musk. I just don't want to sound hypocritical by being like, I would feel really
I
bad if
gotcha.
it didn't succeed, because I would, but it's a different situation from that. They don't have resources to start getting funding from the government and stuff like that to really
Yeah.
pump hundreds of millions of dollars into their company to try to make it take off, and then pretty much have like a celebrity status where they can, like you said, raise their own stock price by tweeting. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, but it's interesting too because if you look at it the other way, where it's like, I mean, Elon Musk is just playing a different game at this point
Yeah.
with different rules than
Yeah.
like
No,
everybody
exactly.
else,
Exactly.
and I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, within the like the confines of the structures that we have created over time, yeah, he's not doing anything wrong. It's
Well,
it's
you know, yeah,
you
exactly.
know what I mean?
With all this, it's like in the psychotic world that we've created, his behavior is just good, according to people, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like there's like two ways of looking at capitalism, kind of, right? And I touched upon this last episode a little bit with like that. Well, basically, like you can either like try to play the game and win the game of capitalism, or I guess there's three ways to play.
Okay.
Go with the flow would be the middle option,
Okay, okay.
aka like I'm a person who's just gonna get a job, keep my head down, and just retire eventually, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or you go, I want to figure out how to not play.
Yeah, I think that's what
And
they're.
like maybe talk about not playing a lot and figure out how to not play this game
And what's
because
the
it's
other
tiring.
option? Yeah.
That's the three.
What was the first one?
The first one was play and win,
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, okay.
aka like, you know, become a capitalist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Become a capitalist. Become a what would it be? Become a capitalist.
Go with the flow,
Go with the flow, or
or refuse to, or like find a way not to play. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, whatever. And it's just like there's not much else you can really do,
I mean, yeah,
and that's the frustrating thing for I feel like pretty much everybody.
yeah, for sure. Because the people, I mean, for a lot of people, those options aren't really, you know, the only option that's like directly like available to most people is to just go with the flow. You know what I mean? And we
Yeah.
say go with the flow, but really, you know, it's like just submit and accept it. You know,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
because it feels like you can't win.
exactly. Because
So it's like try to win. No, you can't win, and like don't want to play.
yeah, and by refusing to play, maybe they are the real winners if they figure
Yeah,
out a way to go about it. You know?
yeah. Like
Yeah,
that's what I've always wanted to kind of do. Just like
yeah,
skirt by in like the best way to keep my life as full as possible, and not feel like I'm contributing too much to the problems.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard though,
Mm.
because even for just like the most basic things, I mean, I say basic things, but like, I don't know, just paying rent is insanely expensive. Like, then if you want to ever own anything, it's even more expensive, obviously, like,
You basically are just not allowed anymore to own property
yeah, right? I mean,
as like a middle class, lower middle class, only upper middle class
pretty much, yeah.
can
That's what
actually
it
really
seems like
buy a
these
house
days.
anymore.
That's how it seems.
Unless you move to a state that is underdeveloped.
Right. Yeah, I guess so. But even with that,
Kind of
you
like, I
gotta
mean,
hope that somehow your job can, your skills can transfer over to where you're moving to, that they have things
yeah,
set up that can make that happen for you, and that you have the money to even move in the first place, because it's an expensive process for most of the time. I don't know.
yeah. The big revolution lately is the move to like remote working.
Yeah, that's at least something that can help people. But I mean, even they even try to push back against that,
Of course,
because they got
yeah.
to make sure that the real estate pe- people don't lose out on
Hey,
their investments. You got to keep those. You got to get people
yeah.
to pay rent. The businesses
I mean,
to have
honestly,
physical offices. Otherwise,
yeah. Think about New York City, right? If people can have jobs, have a job in New York, but live in like North Carolina,
yeah, I know.
why
I
the hell
saw this
not?
thing. I saw this thing. I mean, it was kind of probably I forget where I saw it. It was probably just a stupid thing on Reddit. No, it's a thing on Reddit that someone linked, but or I don't know where it was. It was somewhere on the internet, obviously. But and it was like yeah, it was someone talking about like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like these companies are expected like it doesn't make sense that a company should have to pay someone if people are working remote now. What does it really make sense that someone living in like Idaho should have to be paid a New York City salary just because they're working for a New York City company like remotely? Like it doesn't make any sense. But it's like that's the it's not about it, like it's that kind of shows how fucked up the way that we it is the way that we look at this stuff. Like the fact that they're like, duh, the reason that you pay the people is because you legally are forced to, and you should be allowed to pay them the absolute minimum that they can survive on. Or, like, so if the cost of living in their state is lower, why should they get paid the same amount for doing the same job as someone who lives
Yeah.
in a more expensive place? It's like, oh, so you're just admitting that, like, it's not about the productivity that they do and like how much they're worth. It's just about like what do I legally have to do to like not make you like become homeless and then you can't work for me anymore, like
I mean, it's crazy. Like when you think about like how arbitrary it actually is, like how much people get paid, and how
yeah.
much things are like. It's based off of a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, it feels like okay, like you had to go to a lot of school to get this job, so you get paid a little bit more,
Yeah,
or
right?
like or like in this city, like the minimum wage is higher
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's more expensive to live here. But like all this stuff can easily be evened out by having school be free
Yeah,
and having
yeah,
like
yeah.
more like limitations on how high rents can be and how high property can be,
Yeah, that
and then people. But the thing is, like the people who think that way when they're like when they see something that's unfair to them, their reaction is not to like bring themselves up; it's to bring the other person down.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And
It's like
that's
that's some dangerous like thinking. It's like so you want all of us to just be stuck.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and it's
it's
a very deliberate thing, and people it works apparently, sadly. The
yeah,
to destroy class solidarity, you know what I mean? Like
yeah. Well, yeah, big time. But like, but like on an individual level, like just logically, like how can you make that make sense? Like, I didn't get that, so no one else should. Even though like it's like objectively probably a better thing societally. Because
100%.
I mean, like with the argument against making like even like like community colleges or whatever like tuition free.
Yep.
Like, why is there an argument around that? Oh,
Seriously, a lot of
because
people argue about it because they say, "Well, I had to pay for it,
I know
so
that seems like the biggest
that's
argument that I
unfair."
see.
Yeah. No,
Like
seriously. Yeah.
like there's, I mean, like we already like I mean like the amount of tax that we pay in this country generally, like as a regular citizen,
Mm-hmm.
already feels absurd.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this a million times too. But then the military budget,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
it's just like what are we trying to do? What is the point of us being on this planet? Really, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, yeah. That's unfortunately those are like two different questions. What is the point of us being on this planet? Not this, but what are we doing? Why are things that way? Because to make money for the people who own the things. That's why. That's why. Because you're there so that you can produce for the people who own, the means of production. Honestly, I wasn't even trying to go there, but like that's what it is. Like,
Yeah.
and you just have to be like, get just enough. Like I was actually watching this thing about World War II, and they were like, and it just, I mean, it's just like obvious when you think about it, but like as I was watching it, I was just thinking like, damn, it really is like, because I'm looking at it like all the soldiers have like it was like winter time, and like it was about like it was about, I don't want to sound like, it was about like the Battle of Stalingrad, and
Okay.
that's the winter came, and that the Soviets surrounded the Germans and everything eventually, but they got like but they suffered insane casualties in the process, like unbelievable amounts, and they but I'm still watching. I'm like, they're willing to throw all these people's lives away, the Soviets, and yet they they all have like their like winter hats on, and they got like jackets on, and people like, I don't know, like this might sound so obvious, but like just watching it like made it a lot more clear even that it's like, yeah, it's not because they want them to be comfortable and you deserve that. Yeah, I don't want you to be cold, man. Like, no, come on.
Mm.
It's about, I need you to survive long enough, and you have these things because you physically need it to last long enough to kill more people than kill you. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah.
And we get paid, and we get
Yeah.
paid enough so that we can just survive, so that we can continue getting to work and doing the job, and you know what I mean? And that's it.
That was a good point. Yeah, that's
It's
really fucking true.
I'm
I
not
like
saying
that
our
fucking
lives are
parallel,
just as bad as
but that parallel to the military, because really, like you deck these people, you deck these people out in like the finest gear, not because you like, I want you to survive because I care about you.
Yeah,
While I send
exactly.
you into a literal war zone.
Yes,
It's like,
exactly.
no, I need you to survive because I need you to not die immediately. Because I
Right.
need you to fight.
Exactly. Exactly. And like, oh, it's so crazy. That was actually really interesting, though. If you want to look into that at some point, I highly recommend it. Or if any of the viewers you want to look into
I
that.
will. Was it through that timeline documentary series too?
Oh, no, this was it was called like World War II in color.
Oh yeah, that's on
You've seen?
Netflix. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
I haven't watched it, but it always pops up, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna
Yeah, I
watch that.
think it's like one of the later episodes.
Sometimes I just burn myself out on World War II stuff because I'll like watch everything,
Yeah,
and I did that maybe like last year or something. I like was just watching a lot of World War II stuff, so I feel a little burnt out on it for a bit. But
yeah, no, yeah, but whenever you feel that spark again, I recommend that. It's really good. I mean, it's horrific, the stuff. I mean,
yeah,
both sides. It's like, oh my God. But
yeah,
they I don't know. It was just really, really interesting. I didn't realize they had like the use of like snipers and stuff like that. Because
hmm
like basically the city was destroyed. Like it was just rubble. Like you see the movies and stuff like that. It really was just like destroyed, and they were just like in like the towers, which were just like the last remaining high points of like destroyed buildings and stuff. And like the snipers were like women. Like they actually had like they had to throw so many people there to like defend that like point to like not let them advance any further, that to the point where like they were even like, we can't just do this with just like the men. We need to like like women on the front lines too. You know what I mean? Like, which is
Yeah.
just like, it's unbelievable because like, I feel like a lot of people would look at that and be like, it's a messed up situation. We live in a crazy world when I bet a lot of people would be like, that's girl power right there. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
hell yeah, that's what I call like equality. And don't get me wrong. I mean, in a way, I mean, okay, what, I don't know how, like, but it's like, you understand that that's basically them saying, like, we understand that like all the men are gonna die, so we also have to just like throw more bodies at them. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, you're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Like it was the average survival time of like a soldier going into the city was like 24 hours. Like,
Damn.
that's crazy, and this went on for
It's
months.
insane though. But to be fair, like from the Russian perspective in that, like they were being invaded.
Yeah, that's a different
So
story,
like
sure, but
in a way, like I always feel like the amount of casualties on like the defensive side are like more, it makes more sense.
it
Like
does. Yeah,
if you're like throwing waves and waves and waves of people at like at a city,
yeah, that's insanity.
it's like that's genocide.
Yeah,
But when
well,
you're like, okay, if they are able to get ground here, things are going to be significantly worse for us theoretically.
yeah.
Then it makes sense to be like, we need to do literally everything we possibly can to prevent that from happening, including sending a bunch of people to their death
Yeah,
to try to fight to keep this land.
like, yeah, I
So
mean,
I get war from a defensive standpoint. It seems to me like the only time that it makes any sense for that be happening.
I would hope that a lot of people would agree with that, and of course I do
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It's like we were talking about that other time about, you
Not
know,
abstract defense though.
no, exactly. Not like
It's-
we need to overthrow your government and, kill a bunch of people and drone strike a bunch of people so that you don't someday come to power and attack us or whatever, you know what I mean? Because
yeah,
we think that you
yeah.
might be dangerous or whatever
Yeah.
it may be.
So instead of like being like friends with you, we just want to just wipe you out quick
Yeah, yeah,
instead.
exactly. It's like we were talking about the other time, where it's like, you were asking like, do people naturally want peace and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that? And we were saying like, the even it only takes one person really, or one group, to just actually be like, oh, I'm actually not down with this. I'm gonna build an army and I'm gonna do this, and now everybody else
Mm.
has to, kind of, but I
Yep.
don't, I'm not saying this definitively like I have the answer. I'm just saying it's like an interesting thing to weigh, I guess. Like, it's like, because I'm not saying
Uh,
that, oh my God, the Soviets wouldn't have even had a standing army if it wasn't for the the Germans. No, obviously it's it's like they were
yeah.
imperialist as well, but like but for a different reason and whatever, and we could talk about the value of that or whatever. I'm not, taking a,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying in this exact little situation, it's like, yeah, it's just, what are you supposed to do? I don't know. I don't think, it sounds absolutely horrific to do what I just described. And because, I mean, the details of it were like that they felt like if they lose that city, they already lost so much ground, that so much land and like so many defensive points and stuff, that they just like that the Germans were like making so much progress into the Soviet territories, that they were like, at that point they were like, we need to like get an oil field, and we need to get like farmland and stuff so that we can like take their resources so that we can keep going, so they
Yeah.
just like burned down their villages and stuff. They like, so that they couldn't get it. And I mean, from what I've seen, it actually did have a positive effect, I guess, in stopping them or whatever, but still. And they had to like prevent them from getting the oil so that they couldn't use their tanks and their trucks and stuff like that. And but I mean, it just seems so insane to like, it's such a weird philosophical thing of like, do you throw millions of lives away to defend territory, even though like, but when you do know that like their intention is to like basically genocide you, because they viewed like
Yeah.
Slavs as subhuman. You know what I mean? So they
Yeah.
thought they were there. You know, so it's not like they would have just been like, okay, cool, welcome. We have now freed you from your oppressors, if if they want to call it
Yeah.
that. But that wasn't the intention. It was like we want the land because we need to expand our empire. Like
Yeah. Man, which I like. Mental illness, man, really has fucked up this world. I'm telling you. On
yeah,
like literally the lack of mental health awareness in the past. And I get it. We didn't know. We didn't know as much as we know now. But we know
yeah,
that shit now. So why are we still acting like this?
yeah, exactly. I thought you were gonna go in a direction where it's like at least we know it now and we can prevent it. But no, we don't prevent it. We
Yeah. I mean, like you think about like what does it take to want to become a ruler?
severe trauma. I don't know.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, buddy, listen. I know that your dad didn't really pay that much attention to you when you
right.
were little. And he was a politician, and I get that. I get that. And you want to be better than him. So, maybe you want to bomb some countries. I get it. I feel you. But you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to do that.
Yeah, I wish there were enough people that were able to say that, but hey, dude, that's a radical idea, man. Come on. We can't go that far. What are we supposed to do? We got to protect freedom. Duh.
Well, because the fucking problem is that you'd have to say that to so many men now.
Ugh, yeah.
Because if you just convince one man, that's just one man. And maybe he'll go, you're right, I should go to therapy.
Yeah.
instead
And
of
then maybe
trying
it
to
all starts there.
yeah, convince this guy to believe me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like we talked about last time for a while, the whole thing is so convoluted now that like it's not just one guy
Yeah,
throwing
no,
bombs.
yeah.
It's one guy who's like being convinced by another guy who's being like told by another guy
Who
who's
is the
like
protege
has
of
like
another guy who was the
yeah
guy he now wants to be, and they all want to,
yeah
do
yep
that. Yeah.
and like this guy has like inside information about something that but he's heard it and you trust him because you guys have known each other for a long time and like that he's right.
Yeah, and the logical conclusion to all of that is let's blow up some hospitals across the world, dude.
Hmm.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Yeah,
mind blowing.
we need to preserve every like oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. I just really think that people should be allowed to do what they want and just see what happens.
Yeah,
Because like why are you right? Why are you so sure that you're right? I don't know if anyone should be about really anything.
yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much right.
I feel like everything like everyone should just be like positively quizzical.
Yeah, of course.
They're just like I don't know. This seems like the best option. There's no harm comes from it. That sounds good.
Yeah,
You don't need to be actively crushing things that are not actively doing harm. Hey,
yeah,
I mean, hey, I get it. Like, if there's a country that's murdering all of their citizens in a genocide or something like that, hey, maybe say something.
well, yeah, but
Maybe
hopefully,
make it known that that's frowned upon.
yeah, and maybe if yeah, I mean, it's like this is so like it's sad that this is such a it's like almost like it sounds ridiculous to say, but yeah, like imagine if it was just instead of imagine if people just were really able to just be like, maybe we don't have to like go back to the strength of the fatherland and rebuild German supremacy and get rid of. What if people were just like, oh yeah, no, we all are going to agree that like we don't want that, so like stop doing that, stop talking about it, like, and then it just never happens.
Yeah.
But no, because the people that are, they're not in power, and then there's other things. I'm not saying it's justified in any way, shape, or form, obviously, but like also they could have just not had World War I too, right? They could have just not gotten
Yeah,
in
they
there in the
definitely
first place and done the Treaty of Versailles and stuff to cripple Germany and stuff. Not saying that they still had a reason to do it. I'm just saying people become more impressionable when they feel like they actually have enemies that in Europe and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, no, it goes back. It keeps going. I mean, so yeah,
but what
definitely.
is
But
Germany?
at a certain point, we just need to stop.
Right, exactly. And I
It's
wish we
just all
stopped a
it's gonna
long time
take.
ago.
Yeah, I know, but but it's like, yeah, we can play the game of like this leads to this leads to this, and like, what are we supposed to do when they do that? It's like
Yeah.
eventually someone has to stop punching the other person because eventually one of you is going to be dead and then you're going to have to go to jail.
Yeah, right? Imagine
You should
if
stop.
everyone,
You
if
should stop
everyone was
before
just
you
like,
kill him.
let's just stop, right? Imagine like
Yeah.
you see on the news like tomorrow morning and it's just like everyone agreed to just stop doing this stuff and instead we're just going to focus on other things. We all just decided it's for the best. You know, if America has, you know, if Russia needs, you know, stuff because they're like, hey, listen, guys, all right, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be very vulnerable right now, but I don't know, like we're like we need like more resources and stuff to really like sustain this, and we're like afraid that like our land isn't gonna be able to sustain that, and you know we're getting in issues with like all these like trade like agreements that really aren't working for us right now. Can you guys please just like help us a little? And then they were
Hey,
like,
could you imagine if everyone was just like that?
and then people were like, okay,
Oh
okay,
shit! All
you know
right,
what?
yeah.
Honestly, sure. You just stop doing all that weird stuff. Well, I'm like
Yeah.
sugarcoating it, making it sound like no one does anything wrong. Obviously, I'm just saying this in this
No, I
hypothetical,
know.
but it's like just
But
stop
the thing
doing
is,
this other
everyone's
stuff.
doing this fucked.
Yeah,
Everyone's doing the fucked up shit because they feel like they can't. You can't be vulnerable with other
exactly.
countries, but like if that was just not like, oh my god, the whole like masculine country nationality
Yeah.
thing is pathetic,
Oh my God,
period.
it's so
But
pathetic.
like outside of that, it's like no one's getting anywhere
No,
with it, really. It's like
it's total
now
self-destruction.
I'm upset, so a bunch of people in another country have to die.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it goes beyond. Yeah, but honestly, I mean, I guess you could reduce it down to that. I'm upset, so I have to go kill a bunch of people now, or I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
not me. I'm
make you
gonna
kill a
make
bunch of
other
people
people.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, um, but yeah, and by upset, I'm upset. I guess we mean I'm scared. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I think that if like we let this happen any further, like they're gonna terrorize us or they're gonna nuclear attack us or we're gonna or then let's talk about the more real things. They're gonna see that there's another way of life, and I'm talking about like more like South American countries here now. It's like or Central American, Latin American countries, and it's like they oh well, if we like let them do what they want to do all the time, then people in America might be like, oh, we want to do some of that stuff. Look, it worked when they did it, like, and then they're not gonna let me like, they're not gonna let me be the CEO anymore, and then they're not gonna let me like get the money, and then I can't even like go on the plane. I just bought it, like I really want to be able to still use my plane. And I don't know, I like having I like my houses and stuff. Like, I don't know, I want to go on the boat with my friends that, like, like, come
I want to do
on.
the cocaine. I want to do the cocaine.
I really like doing it, and it makes me feel good. And if they take that away from me, it's going to be a big problem for me. So seriously, and like honestly, like my dad would be so disappointed in me if I lost the business. It's going to suck. So like, I really got to make sure that I overthrow the government in Guatemala.
That is literally what these people are saying in their heads.
Yeah, like.
But out loud, they're like, communism is an existential threat.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, nah, you're just a fucking little bitch.
Yeah, right. It really is that
Yeah.
way.
And once again, I'm not even saying that communism is a perfect form of government by any stretch of the
Right,
imagination.
yeah,
But hey,
sure.
the fact that like we said last time too, the fact that we think that capitalism is inherently better is fucking retarded.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's absurd. Yeah, it really is.
It's slow. It's slow.
It's yeah. It is yeah. It is slowing progress for the human race.
Yes. Yes. It is a retarding progress.
Yeah, and it's just like seriously, like it is that, and I really think these people are people. You know what I mean? They were little kids. They used to be little kids, and now they're
They still are little kids, but they're just
exactly,
taller.
exactly, and they're a little fat sometimes.
Yeah.
And, they're not the most athletic, and like they get they got the wife, but like she's probably only likes him for his money. So like I mean, he's got to keep the power and the prestige and the money. Otherwise, like who is he? He's just like one of those other guys that like he thinks are like losers, and he doesn't want to be a loser. So like I gotta basically make sure that the factory in Cuba stays, or I got to make sure that my land in Cuba stays up because I make the money from it. And, if they get it, then what am I? I don't know. I'm just like one of those guys. And it was my dad's farm. It was my grandpa's
Yes.
farm. Like, this is a family thing for me, like,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah,
his farm
straight
because
up.
they stole it back, a couple hundred years ago. And I'd be such a disappointment if I let that go away. So I got to give a
God,
couple
dude.
million dollars to this person in the government who's going to make sure that they, keep it for me by,
Yeah.
like promoting democracy over in a different country, they got to preserve democracy.
Democracy by force.
Yeah, you got to do it. I mean, it's just there's no other way. You imagine how disappointed these people would feel if they lost that stuff. Like it would
I
suck for
know.
them. Like, it
I
would
know.
suck.
I really feel. My heart goes out to those people.
Yeah, it's. I
All
mean,
these capitalists that they have investments.
they do, and we got to respect that. Honestly, like who are we? I don't have the
Yeah.
investment.
Nobody. I don't have an investment.
I don't have the balls to do that. Come on,
I'm a loser.
that's it. So I
The
could.
guy out here who hates his life.
Right, I could just drink another soy latte and just cry about it because that's all I am.
Dude, oh god. I mean, like, I want to talk about that Joe Rogan thing a little bit. That
Okay.
made me think of it because I saw like, how do you feel about this? Because I I look at Twitter, and over the past like few days, well, since the weekend when I looked at Twitter for the first time, like everything has been about the Joe Rogan controversy
Okay.
with Spotify and
Yep.
all this shit. And somebody posted like a video of, I forget what news media it was, maybe like CBS or something like that.
Okay.
It wasn't. I don't think it was Fox, but basically they were talking about like how like people aren't smart enough to discern information, so that therefore like Joe Rogan needs to be taken away from them.
Oh, okay.
And like that's like I've hated that argument since like I remember being in New York, and they were talking about banning large sodas.
Oh, they
You
did, I
remember that?
think. I think they did, didn't they?
They did successfully ban large sodas in New York.
I think. I could be wrong, but I thought so.
I don't know. I don't know how it panned out, but I remember hearing that argument all the time on NPR.
Was that a de
I was at
Blasio
work.
thing or was that Bloomberg?
I think it was a
Yeah,
end of
okay.
Bloomberg era.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember thinking like, that's your solution to this problem. No, you can't have it. You don't deserve this. You're too fat.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, good point. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point, in my opinion, as the decider
Like,
of good points.
yeah.
But no, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it does apply, I guess, right? Like
The
people,
band-aid solution
yeah,
is like, it does so much more harm than good, I feel like. Because then what are you doing? What are you telling these people?
you're
You're telling them that you don't trust them
yeah, you're
to make
you're
good choices for
incapable of making
themselves.
your own decisions, and instead of yeah, and I mean, I don't know,
And what
just
does that usually do? What does that usually do to somebody, right? When somebody says no, you're an
yeah,
idiot. You
yeah,
go, no, I think you're an idiot.
yeah. Well,
Most people double down when they like
yeah,
get called out for shit that they literally don't see or don't comprehend the harm of, or if there even is harm, because like many people can drink a large soda and nothing bad happens,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
Many
know.
people. You'd
And
be
there are
surprised
many
at the number
people.
of people who can do that, and their life
Yeah,
doesn't come crumbling down.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
done it,
But and
believe it or
there's
not.
and
But
there
hey,
are
maybe I'm not the best example, but
many obese people who have no idea about nutrition or are severely mentally ill and have their own way of coping with their life.
yeah,
And none of those things are solved by saying, "Hey, you cannot have the thing,"
yeah.
because they just say that there's so many other things.
Mm-hmm.
There's,
Yeah,
it's
can they just get like three medium sodas or like three large
yeah,
sodas but
of
no
course.
extra larges? Like what?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we really doing there? Are we saying that like we shouldn't make it that cheap for people to get a lot of soda? Should we make them buy 3 mediums? Like we should make them. They have to spend the money if they want to be fat.
Well, people do that with things. They do, they tax like tobacco products and stuff like that to deter people from buying it,
Yeah,
I
but is it
guess.
really to deter people, or is it because people are going to buy it and they might as well get more money from it?
I guess,
Because that's what
yeah.
I think it is.
Right. I mean, the intention on that, the true
I think
intention,
that
who
they
knows?
convinced they that's their excuse that like people go, oh, okay, yeah, it's like a disincentive. I get that.
Right. I know
But
that.
like at the end of the day, they are just straight up profiting from it. They are profiting from people actively killing themselves with nicotine products.
Yeah, and actually also like another part of that is I know on in our hometown they put like a bunch of speed cameras up. And they they put a bunch of speed cameras up to like just on roads. Just like if you are driving over the speed limit, you just get a ticket mailed to your house. You know what I mean? And people didn't know about it at first. So like people would just drive to work every day or whatever on their normal route and they would end up with like 8 tickets and stuff like that because they just were going back and forth to work and driving through the camera multiple times a day at like instead of 30 miles per hour they were going 34 miles per hour. Boom, $80 ticket or however much it was, I don't remember, or
It's
whatever,
that
but
sensitive? Damn.
oh yeah, it was like if you go 1 mile per hour over, I'm pretty sure. and
Wow. That's
and
insane. Because I think I always thought that like even there's like a five mile per hour like grace period.
yeah, I don't know specifically, but I'm pretty sure here it was like that. And even if there was, which I don't think there was, but even if there's a 5 mile per hour grace period, okay, so you're going 36. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
and you get tickets to your house. And it was so clear that that was like, oh, it was a standard, I'm not going to raise taxes. I will not raise taxes. You will not be receiving this. And then we spent it, oh, I'm going to keep the school zone safe and I'm going to keep these roads safe by,
Yeah.
doing this and that and blah, blah, blah. And people were just absolutely outraged. And it was the most transparent thing in the entire world. It was the most obvious thing in the world. Like you could see right through it. It was just like, you're obviously just doing this to generate revenue. Are you insane? And like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, and so yeah, I mean,
And
there is that.
okay, so and to go back to the Joe Rogan thing really quickly,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's also like yeah, to make the case even more clear, it's like you can't like the people who watch Joe Rogan generally, they're either rational people who are capable of making their own choices, and if Joe Rogan is able to sway them, then Joe Rogan is able to sway them.
Okay. Yeah.
Whatever, and then there's people who just want to like believe people they trust, and maybe they believe Joe,
Okay. Yeah.
but it's not like Joe Rogan's the only person saying this type of stuff. So you take Joe Rogan away, sure, okay, and then what? Now you're gonna take Fox News away as well, and then what else do you have to take away? The internet? It's like it's not
I
like
can
it's
see
not
that.
like it's
Yeah.
it's not like I would completely understand if Joe Rogan's whole podcast was about him just lying about stuff and like being like, if you don't believe this, you're an idiot.
Yeah. The
And then
thing
I'd be like, okay, that might not be the best thing
I
to
find,
like support, but also even then I wouldn't think taking it down would be good because I'd be like, if people believe this, then that's okay. Let them believe it because that's bizarre.
the thing is that I
And they
find
are in trouble already.
the argument that I find pretty, interesting and sort of valid is the one where it's not that Joe Rogan goes around and says, "This is a fact. You must believe this, you idiots. This is how it is, okay? Trust me, like this is real." It's that he says, "Today I'm going to be speaking with a doctor who is like renowned for this and that, and he's been working in the field for this long, and these are his accomplishments, and great, amazing guy, I'm really excited to have him on." Like basically, he totally legitimizes people and makes it be like this is an authoritative voice in this discourse here, and then they come on and say like things about like vaccines or things about COVID and stuff, and then Joe Rogan's like biggest strength is like he's very like agreeable to his guests, you know what I mean? And like so even someone he's never talked to before, it sounds like a real like friendly conversation because someone will say something and
Yeah.
Joe's like, Oh yeah, is that? Oh wow, is that really true? Wow. Okay. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like making
Yeah,
it
yeah,
be
yeah.
like, okay, I trust Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan trusts this guy and says that he's really smart and great, and this guy said this, so, and Joe agreed with him, or like at least said it was like a good point. So that's what I believe now. And people are like that a lot of the time. And
Are they not what he says they are? Like, is he lying about that, or
well, I mean, I guess technically, I'm sure what he's saying is true, like about their credentials and stuff like that. I doubt
yeah?
he's like straight up lying. But
And then are these people straight up lying about stuff, or is it like they're 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 talking about things in a way that's like uh more like like maybe more nuanced to a fault, or like
probably that, you know what I mean?
some
From what I've seen,
okay.
it's more like that, you know.
Yeah,
But
because
the
any of the clips I've seen around the coronavirus stuff, none of it has been like insane. It's like reasonably questioning for the most part, and like and like to be fair, like we've talked about before too, like to just all of a sudden now we trust big pharmaceutical companies. That's
right,
also insane to me.
that is
Just
what.
blindly, everyone's like, no, obviously the vaccine is fine. It's like, okay, what?
Well,
It's like it's not obvious.
right. The trusting of the pharmaceutical companies is the big the question mark kind of thing there for me. But still, I don't think it's like the way I see it is just like I don't know. I just see it as like just do it. I mean, just do it. Like I mean, why? Like it's a
Well,
real
yeah,
disease. It's a real disease. There's a vaccine. The science shows that it works to the extent that it prevents you from dying for the most part or being hospitalized for the most part and stuff like that. And if you can do that, why not do it? You know what I mean? Like just why not do it? Like I just see people who don't want to do that as just like little crybabies who are just like, no, I don't want to do it because like, no, I'm special and I shouldn't have to do that. You can't tell me what to do. No, like I see it like that. Whereas they think it's like, I'm a free thinker. I'm not going to do this. It's like you would never say that about any other vaccine ever. And if you would have been universally viewed as like an insane person who doesn't, you can't take anything you say seriously. You know what I mean? And even Joe Rogan has said before, like people who are anti-vaxxers are like insane nut jobs who are like dangerous and like it's like a problem in this world and stuff like that. So, you know, but I mean, I think the issue with it is like it's so sad and but very real that we have that like the people in power, the government and the institutions like the CDC and you know the pharmaceutical industry and all this stuff have such the people have so little faith in them. Understandably, of course, you know what I mean. Like you know, of course, you should be super skeptical about everything that you know the government. I mean, what do you? We talk about it all the time. You know what I mean? It's like the stuff that they say is like manipulation and propaganda all the time, pretty much. You know,
yeah.
for the most part, and it is hard when that now all of a sudden it's like no, trust us on this. Just trust us. Just trust us. Just trust us. So it's like yeah, I
And
understand.
not even just that. You are harmful and an idiot if you don't trust us.
Well, okay. So there's where like some nuance comes in, and yes, they do say that, and but the way I think of it is just like it's not like you're harmful and an idiot if you're skeptical of the government, obviously, but or the pharmaceutical industry, but like there is just, but like what about just like scientists and doctors who do this? Unless it's a mass, do you think that
Well,
people?
I mean, to be fair, like you know, doctors supported tobacco companies.
Well, yeah, yeah, but that
Doctors are not above like being paid off.
yeah.
Just stating
Right, right,
fact.
right. As
Like doctors are not like morally sound always.
right, of course. But
Yeah.
just when the massive consensus, when the consensus is as clear as it is, then it's like it becomes like you're it's basically you're buying into like a conspiracy theory at this point. If you think that
Yeah.
every
But
scientist
if it
across many countries is actually trying to do what? Make you get a vaccine? What is the goal there? What are we doing? And yeah, you can turn around and say, well, it just starts with that, and then they're going to force you to do this, and then they're going to force you to do this. Okay, well, if that happens, then reassess. But as of now, it's like pretty cut and dry. It's like there's a virus that killed
Yeah.
a bunch of people. I've had it before. You know what I mean? Like it is a real thing. It was like
Yeah.
I was sick, very sick. You know, very
Yeah.
sick by my standards. Thankfully, I haven't ever really been that sick. But like, and you know, it's just and people die when they're unvaccinated more often than people who are vaccinated. Like that's just everybody can
Yeah.
look to real data and see that. It's not like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's just but
But yeah, no, but I get that. I get that, and I agree. I definitely think like being like denying that COVID is a thing is problematic and delusional. But
yeah.
like, but yeah, but I do I sympathize with people who don't who are extremely hesitant about the vaccine because in my mind it's rational to be hesitant about things the government's telling you to do because their track record is not great.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, if I was in government, the message would not be like, you know, just do it. Just do it.
Nike.
It would be like, hey, listen. Yeah, exactly. Hey, I know that you guys are scared and that things are weird now and like the government has not always done the right thing by its people and that the pharmaceutical industries as a whole, I would go into the whole thing
Of that would
all of the
be
time.
then now we're talking, you know what I mean? Like that would be
You
just
know?
perfect, you know, like but
Because then people would be like, then people who are like, be like, here is the information. Because there's so many times where like you see people like um, call stuff out as for being wrong, but they don't provide the right information.
right, yeah.
They're
Right,
just like
right.
mocking people who are like hesitant or questioning, or even like have like legitimate. There's a lot of legitimate studies that have been done that show some things to maybe be a little concerned about with certain vaccines and like certain. I mean, even in the beginning, certain vaccines were pulled because they were a little harmful, and they had to like reassess. So it's like, you know, I think at this
Sure.
point
But
we're probably fine.
yeah,
But
just there's stuff with everything though, you know what I mean? It's like people die. Some people like get trapped in their car while after a
yeah,
car accident they get trapped in their car because they were wearing their seatbelt when maybe they would have survived if they got ejected through the windshield. You know what I mean? It's like you still
no, I
don't
know what
say
you're
maybe
saying.
let's not wear the seatbelts. You know what I mean? So I get it, but I agree with that part for sure. Like the part
Yeah,
where if they could just come out and be like, listen, we understand that we've made mistakes along the way, and I mean with COVID and like the information about that we've made, even if they want to like be, you know, save face a little bit, I guess, because let's be honest, they're never going to just come out and say, listen, I understand that the government actually doesn't really serve you, but like, listen, we need to maintain our workforce and the economy is going to die if you guys all die. So we really need you. So we're not trying to screw you for once. We actually need you to take this because we need you to live. Like, if they're not
yeah,
going to say that, but if they,
that would be great.
right, but
No,
it,
and we act like we rely on you guys being alive to keep
right.
us in power.
Yeah, like
So
listen, my
like if
stock
you
portfolio is gonna go downhill big time if we have to shut down a bunch of businesses because all their employees died. Like, so
yeah,
come on,
so like
like,
listen, like I'm not fucking with you about this.
yeah, no, but if they want to turn around, but like, you know, like the messaging is that it's basically if you don't get it, you're an idiot. Like, but I don't know. It's hard for me to even like say like I don't want to say I sympathize. It's just like I understand being skeptical and I understand not trusting the government.
Do you get the flu vaccine every year?
No.
Yeah, me either. And how
Yeah,
often do you get the flu?
not since I was a little kid. But
Yeah.
that's a
So
different
I feel
story.
like some people are seeing it that way. Some people are definitely seeing it that way, where they're like, am I being forced to do something where it's like it's my health, and like if I get sick, I get sick. I'm not super worried about it.
Right, but that's the difference. Is like it's not about necessarily just like, oh, it's just your health, don't worry about it. It's the hospitals are full of people, unvaccinated COVID patients, who need to now like prevent people from being able to go in to get their like get treated for like other illnesses and stuff like that. Like now the hospitals are full. Now, things like that. And
we need a better medical industry.
well, yeah, that would be obviously amazing too. But yeah, it's just it's a really tricky subject because it's like I understand not trusting the government, but it's like just with science, it doesn't seem like at this point there's really much up for debate. Like I said, you wouldn't be like, I refuse to wear my seatbelt because like 0.1% of people who wear their seatbelt get trapped in the car, or you know what I mean? Or I'm not gonna whatever, like things like that. But
no, I get it, but like also like there was plenty of times when I drove and I didn't wear my seatbelt.
And you were just fine. So actually, yes, screw that. No need for a vaccine.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
exactly.
kidding. But like
I survived.
right, no,
Chances
but
are
that's
good.
the attitude. That's the attitude.
I
I
know.
don't. Yeah, no,
I
yeah.
know, but like, but at the same time, like it's like I gotta say, like even if it's dumb, I kind of feel like people should make their own mistakes, and like,
But
eventually when enough people in your family like, get sick or die from COVID, then maybe you'll wake up to it. But I feel like I just don't feel like forcing people to wake up actually wakes them up. It just makes them angry.
right, but it's not about, and yeah, the way they go about it is bad in my opinion. But it's not about, at this point, it's not about, oh well, you can make your own mistake and you can go and infect your family if you want and you can die and that's your decision. It's about these people are talking about, oh, it's my freedom to make these choices. Well, guess what? The person who needs to get treated for some other disease in a hospital but actually can't get, or like someone has to be delayed as far as like some kind of illness that they have to be able to get admitted to a hospital because your dumbass is there because you decided not to get a vaccine because you're too much of a little crybaby. It makes it like you just took away their freedom. So what is that now? You know what I mean? That's like saying, oh, I should be free to drive 150 miles per hour down the road. If I crash, I die. Who cares? Okay, well, there's other people that you have to take into account. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's fair. That's fair.
That's how I look at it. And it's like, and then on top of that, like, it's like, I'm not an expert on this stuff, obviously. Not even remotely close. I'm not even informed. I wouldn't even consider myself a highly informed person about this, or even maybe not even moderately informed. I guess I'm just going with
I've heard some stuff.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff. Okay, so trust me on this one. It's also like, on top of that, it's like you're taking away other people's freedom also when instead of people getting vaccinated and reducing the chance of transmitting, and then but you could still transmit it. Okay, but like it's less prevalent when it's less likely to just run through a population. It might just go down and go away eventually, or just at least get to a point where it's like more manageable because so many people are vaccinated. So now you get infected, you stay home for 2 weeks, you go back out there, you're good. Instead of like, 800,000 people in America are dead. Okay, it's spiking all the time. It's going up and up and up and stuff like that. It's like, just let it be done. You know what I mean? These people, the very same people who want to turn, and this is more of like a personal thing. It's like, towards people like that. It's like, you are choosing, like, the very same people who are like, I'm a patriot, I'm an American, this is America, I like freedom, okay, thank you very much, so I'm gonna protect my own freedom, and they can't tell me what to do. It's like, bro, you understand that, like, the people who protected freedom that you idolize so much were like drafted into a war to go overseas and like kill and die, and now you view them as like patriots, right? Like everybody like views them as patriots and stuff like that or whatever. And it's like, your bitch ass won't even get a little needle to just maybe help out the people in the country. You know what I mean? What are you actually thinking you're doing here? Your little personal fifis are too important to be able to actually do that because you don't like Joe Biden because let's go Brandon. Oh yeah, like, okay, are you serious? Like, yeah, I agree, fuck Joe Biden or whatever, but like, come on, like, It's not about that. If that's your worldview, it's sad because it's like a lot of people are so. I mean, I'm kind of getting a little into it right now, but it's like a lot of people are like, it's weird. It's sad when people are so dumb that they just don't even know they're dumb. They think they know what they're talking about because they're just so like they see like, huh, wait, so you mean to tell me that like there's a plastic thing in front of the cashier, right, at the grocery store. But like, in order to go over here, in order to pay, I have to move over to the left of the plastic thing. What was the point of the plastic thing? It's like, okay, how about this? Ready? Take an umbrella and let someone take a massive piss all over you. And then but at the last second you have to like remove the umbrella for a second. Why are you even using the umbrella? Let the person just piss all over your face, bro. Like, what's the big deal? Like, you know what I mean? It's just a different situation. Maybe that's not the best example, but that just came into my mind right now. You know what I mean? It's like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I agree. It is ridiculous that, in a lot of ways to be like, oh, I'm doing my part. I'm stopping the spread by walking into a restaurant with a mask off, walking to my table for 15 seconds, and then I take my mask off and I sit at the table for 45 minutes eating dinner. You know what I mean? With a bunch of people around me. I get it. I understand it looks stupid, and it's like probably totally pointless to do that in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know specifically. I'm just saying I get that. But like, if that is enough to make you think like, yeah, so therefore I'm just not going to do anything, and that makes me a real American patriot, and I'm really free, and all these other people are idiots. Haha, they don't even realize that they're so stupid. It's like, I don't think you're capable of understanding how stupid it is to believe that type of thing. Like I said, it's like, when your dumbass gets sick and has to go to the hospital, or maybe it's not your dumbass, maybe it's someone else's dumbass who thinks just like you, but their immune system is weaker than yours or something, and and then they have to go to the hospital, and then, there's people who have to they have to pull resources away from other, uh, you know, floors of the hospital to treat more and more COVID patients, and now like, oh, there's issues with the other patients. You know what I mean? Like, there's less nurses and doctors and beds and things like that.
Yeah.
Because you said you're a free American and you wanted to not wear a mask and you think you owned the libs or something, and you think that actually does something. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? What are you actually doing? You're just doing a circle jerk with you and your buddies. Like, that's it. You just feel cool or something. That's what you're doing, I guess. I don't know. It's just so frustrating with that stuff. I don't know. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah. And to just sum that up really quick, people are fucking pathetic.
A lot of people. I mean, hey, it's sad, but
Pretty much everybody at the end of the day.
oh yeah,
But,
true.
I think we need to just see that and accept it for what it is. Stop feeling like you're so cool.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Just live your life, man.
It's just the same thing as we said before. Like, if everyone would just take a moment about this whole discourse about COVID and all this stuff and just say, all right, that was weird, right? Like, what were we doing for the past, like, little bit? Why don't we just, like, take a second and just, like, stop? And then just say, all right, guys, what if we just do it so that, like, maybe it just doesn't infect a lot of people anymore and, like, people don't get hospitalized. Maybe people will survive. More people will survive. Let's give it a shot. Like, we're all in this together. It's not about, like, I'm going to force you to do it. Otherwise, you're a, bioterrorist or something, and you don't have to call me a sheep because I got it or something. Let's just say there's a disease. People are really dying. We agree on that, right? Like, let's just stop. Let's stop it, right? Okay. Instead, but hey, that's like we talked about before. People saying, let's stop blowing stuff up. I don't know. Yeah. I know, right? I don't know. You want to take a little break? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Got to catch my breath a little bit after that one, but okay.
We will be right back with more The Pinemen. All right, and we're back.
All right.
And since we were talking about Twitter, what we were just saying, I really feel like, as most people, I think, nowadays would agree that Twitter, not the healthy
No. What makes you say that? I'm sure there's many, many, many reasons. Yeah.
Straight up. Yeah, it's like it's compressed reality. It's like everything bad that's happening in an echo chamber,
Yeah.
and like the fights are, and like everyone just it seems like so like it really feels like people only believe this thing or this thing. No one believes that like that's a little bit of both.
Yeah, for a lot of things, yeah. Or even if it's not a little bit of both, and it can be, yeah. But like it is like not even like let's talk about it is this way, but here's the nuance to it. Here's the like here's where, there's room for a little discussion. Here's what's like set in stone in my mind. It's just like this is the way it is. If you don't think that, I have a preloaded burn that I'm gonna deliver to you. And guess what? I owned you. Get owned. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and that makes me
straight up.
better than you. So
Yeah, and also like not even that, but like if you don't agree with me, not only are your ideas terrible, but you're terrible.
yeah, that's true.
Dear God. But we talked about this guy on another podcast for a second, but I don't know if you know anything about this, but I saw a tweet talking about how that YouTuber, I don't know, yeah, the YouTuber, I guess, Fosh,
Oh yeah, okay.
is a pedophile.
Oh, is this what is this? Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing that like a whole controversy or what.
Yeah, that would highly surprise me. But yeah, what are the
I don't know. I was one to bring it up because I wasn't sure if you knew more about it than me for any reason, but I guess not.
No, I don't know. I'm tempted to like look it up right now.
Look it up.
Okay, let's see. All right.
Because what did I say? I saw it on Twitter, obviously.
Yeah, right. Oh, my screen is like all messed
Fucking
up.
tweeted it.
All right. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. It's one time he made a. I've kind of heard about this. He said something. He was trying to make a point about something. I forget what it was, and I mean, there's a clip of it here. I remember hearing about this. And said, okay, this is not me saying this. I'm literally reading something. He said, quote, apparently, it is possible for an adult and a child to have a sexual relationship and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well. That is possible. Sounds horrible. From what I remember, obviously that's like horrific. Why would you even say that? Sure. But from what I remember, it was like saying like something is really 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 bad, but like, and then like someone was saying like, oh, but like it doesn't have to be bad, and then he said that as an example to be like, yeah, well, this can happen too technically, that doesn't make it okay, like that type of thing, from what I remember. Yeah.
So it's literally just the same old shit where people take stuff out of context.
Yes. Yeah, and right, really bad choice of, maybe that's not the obviously a good like analogy or whatever, but
In context that you just gave, like, that's perfectly reasonable in an argument against somebody saying something equally ridiculous.
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so
You know?
right, but I mean it does point out that, and I could be, I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't think our millions of viewers are gonna, fact check me that, and maybe I'm totally wrong, but I think that's pretty much what it was. But if I'm wrong, hey, leave it in the comments. But like,
Yeah, no, I didn't see anything about like any like charges or anything like that.
yeah, I think that was pretty much just it. But yeah, so weird. But yeah, no, exactly. But that's the Twitter hive mind, to just be like, I don't like you, therefore that I'm going to be disingenuous. That's one of my least favorite things in the world, obviously. And I wish this was everybody's least favorite thing in the world. One of them is when you have to knowingly manipulate the information to make your point make sense. You know what I mean? Like, if you have to do that, then just don't make the point because you know it's wrong. If you can't make it on its own merits, if you can't make the argument on its own merits, then stop doing it, right? Like, but no, you got to get that little own in there. You know, you got to make sure that you show what team you're on. You know, otherwise, how are people going to know who you are as a person? You know. Yeah, no, it is. It really is. On yeah, 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 yeah. There are yeah, but there are sadly some that are not. You know, there unfortunately, yeah, I think there are people that are, on both sides of, as we just to put it simply, both sides. It's like, um, where people you disagree with, you could probably work it out in a sense where, like, I don't know. I saw this one thing where Bernie Sanders went on a Fox News town hall years ago, and he went into, like, I think it was Pennsylvania, some like mining town or some coal plant or something like that. It was like an industry, like some old energy driven town in Pennsylvania where they shut down the mine or the plant or whatever it was. And Bernie Sanders went in there and did a town hall with Fox News, who obviously, thinks he's Bolshevik Bernie, as they like to say, and that he's a radical communist because he thinks that people shouldn't die from having preventable diseases and that they shouldn't go into intergenerational debt for, well, maybe not intergenerational, but basically ruin their entire family's life with debt based off of medical bills or whatever. That makes him a radical communist who wants to do a whatever dictatorship in America and turn it into Venezuela. Oh wow, what a great point. You're so original. But anyway, so it's like yeah, I mean, I don't know. He talked about just like, do you think that workers should make enough money to be able to support their families and live with dignity and have jobs that they feel a sense of connection to, basically, and have access to medical, healthcare, and have access to school and education and whatever, like, do we think this? And, people were agreeing with him, like, a lot. And I'm sure a lot of people that showed up were Bernie supporters, but I don't know. I just don't see how people could hear the points that he was making and disagree. And it seemed like it was pretty much everybody agreeing with him. And, yeah, so there's that. But the sick realization is that there are actually people, and this is like, it's not the most surprising thing in the entire world, obviously, but it is once you realize it. But like, it is surprising when you're told basically, like, when the Nazis were defeated, it ended. Fascism was defeated, and that is the end of it. Period. Like, obviously we can't do that again. Everybody knows that. Blah blah blah. There's a lot of people who don't know that. They think like, no, like that's good. Like, they think for real, like, we need to create a white ethno state in America, and anyone who doesn't support that is a traitor, and they're part of the problem, and we need to rule through strength and all this stuff. Truly, not just in a roundabout way where, like, they support, like, Donald Trump, and they, like, through supporting him, it's implied that that's how you feel and blah blah blah. Like, truly just like rolling around with Nazi flags and, like, like, I honestly think it's like to put it really simply and almost like a stupid way, they just want to feel cool, kind of like they just want to be part of something. They just want to, like, feel good. I don't know. Like, I just, what else could it be, right? Like, how can you arrive at that conclusion? I really think it's like it comes from like a sense of like I feel alienated from society for whatever reason, and that could be literally something so stupid as like not, like I feel like I was bullied, or I just feel like like things would be better if like women went back to traditional roles, and then I could really like get a real woman instead of some, like whatever they would say, insults towards women, like that's how they see it or whatever, or like, oh, the reason why my life is bad is because of other people's. They made it bad. It's not me. I did what I was supposed to do. Blah blah blah. Like, yeah, like resentment, exactly. And then when they can cling on to like a group that like has some ideas that like, oh yeah, these guys support me. See, they know what they're talking about. Yeah, it should be like that. Yeah, like these are good dudes. Like they don't understand. Like because like apparently we have this like messed up viewpoint in the a lot of people have this messed up viewpoint where it's like they think like being a good person and being a nice guy or whatever it is means like, no, they're nice. They're nice. Like we joke around. We have a good time together. Like we get beers. We hang out. He's got a family. Like he's got a wife. He supports his family. He's a good guy. You know what I mean? It's like you are not a good guy if you think like, hey, if the Fourth Reich came up, I would be signing up. I would enlist. You know what I mean? To to kill the, what is it, the Untermensch or whatever it's called. Like, I would exterminate them. Like, yeah, like that's, and it goes like that. I think honestly, like, seriously, right? I mean, and then they slip into the actual beliefs. Like, I'm not saying these people are actually just like, oh, they just fell victim to a pipeline. Like, then they really internalize those beliefs and they, like, make it a part of themselves. And that is just, like, their ideology. And it's, like, a real thing. It's not just, like, misunderstood males who are, not feeling like they have a place. It's, like, you are the thing that almost, like, destroyed the world, And you would destroy the world if more people agreed with you. Thankfully, enough people realize you're a fucking moron, but like, yeah. It is crazy, right? I mean, but why? What do you think? Like what? Or, oh, I thought you were getting to something, yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's not that unbelievable in a way, sadly, that people would arrive at that when people do arrive at the conclusion that, like, no, yeah, I am working at, I'm working a job and I'm a lower middle class person, and yeah, sure, I can't get what I want really. I have to work multiple jobs sometimes. I struggle. My life's not easy. I wish things were better for me, but we're not going to get there by taxing billionaires. We're not going to get there by taxing corporations or taxing Wall Street speculation and gambling and, like all that stuff. It's like, because that would be wrong. Like, that's not what's going to solve the problem. What's going to solve the problem is hard work. It's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? You are straight up arguing against your interests. Well, when, guess what? Like, I've heard other people say this before. It's, like, this trick that people have fallen for, that like, oh, I don't accept handouts. No, I don't want a handout. No, all this stuff. It's like, do you understand that, like, SpaceX, we'll go back to Elon Musk, receives hundreds of millions of dollars from the government? They don't make money. They lose money. It's a private business. They lose money. They don't make money. They receive millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of handouts from the government, but when the government gives it to rich people, it's called a government subsidy. And that's good because they need it. They need it to do research, important research that's so above your tiny brain's ability that you just don't know. Like, we're doing big stuff and you're just a little man who if you take any money, if you take money so that you can buy groceries when we've shut down the country, you're a slacker and you're a freeloader. It's like, no, you know what I mean? That is such a bullshit way of looking at things. Like, like, people who have control and capital and stuff like that, they're like, what can we do to get more money? Period. That's it. Like, I'll undermine democracy. Sure, of course. Why wouldn't I? I can make more money. I'll overthrow governments if I'm not saying they're gonna. When I say that, I'll support some. I'll sell off my. I'll move my factory to a different country, and lay off my entire workforce. I mean, yeah. Why wouldn't I? I can make more money. And what do you think is happening when they do that? Like, they're literally doing the most like anti-American thing you can do by doing that. And they'll turn around and say that you're a lazy slacker freeloader if you accept money from the government to get like Medicaid, you know what I mean? Or something like that, to be able to get health insurance, or if you take unemployment or something like that while you look for another job or figure out what you want to do with your life. You know what I mean? Like, it's on, yeah. And then people actually believe it. I don't know how anyone could believe that, like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, but they just don't know where to point the finger, Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. But you got to understand, they're oppressed because they put themselves in that position. You got to realize, like, they don't do what you do. You're only oppressed because you're not oppressed. You got to realize, white man, you're not oppressed. You're just waiting till things start getting better for you, because they're gonna, as long as you just keep doing exactly what you're doing while struggling, as long as you keep struggling along, things are going to get better someday. But these other people, who they're in the same situation as you, okay, fine, but it's for different reasons. They're there because they deserve it. You got to understand this. You know what I mean? Like, and then they'll be like, yeah, it's true. The reason why, yeah, it's like, people coming up from the southern border are the reason why I can't find a job, or why my job doesn't pay as much as it used to, or my family grew up in generations of working in strong union jobs at this, whatever, making good money, and they were able to make a good life for themselves. And now the reason I can't do that is because people fled, like, failing, like, countries that are like collapsing with gangs in the streets and stuff like that. And like, the economy is like totally getting destroyed because of like sanctions, or like, because of political unrest and stuff like that. So they're the ones who ruined your prospects here. It's not the fact that, like, oh, for decades the companies have worked really, really hard along with politicians to crush unions and to like cut benefits and to move factories overseas and destroy production in America and move it overseas again. It's like, it's not that. These people are looking out for you. They're innovators. They're building this country up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not them. It's not the most powerful people who control everything. It's the most vulnerable people who have no control over anything. They're the ones doing this to you. And people just are like, hell yeah, that's true. Get them out. Build the wall. Like, oh my God. Yeah, sure. What's it? Oh, does anything look like it's messed up? Oh no. Uh, say something now. Let's see. Hold on. Oh yeah, it's messed up. Oh, don't do this. Don't do this to me. Uh, what could it be? I don't know. I didn't change anything. Are your... Try saying some more stuff. Completely. Yeah. It's coming through as like little crackles. Ugh, come on. Ugh, I hope it... Wait, please don't tell me that it's been going like that for a while. Okay, it's just since we came back from like the little break screen thing. Let's see. But it's coming through fine on my end. Like, so your mic is working fine. Oh my god, I can't find a part with you talking because I won't shut up. Yeah. No, it's like just crackling. It's crackling. Okay. Why is it crackling? Yeah. I'm just going to parts with where you talk. Yeah, it's crackling. All right. Yeah, I think. Let me see. Yeah, it's still crackling. Oh boy. All right. I don't know. I don't understand. What changed? Nothing. Hold on. I'll try to go to a transition again and come back and maybe it'll be better. Back to it. I'm just going to parts with where you talk. Okay. Say some stuff. I hope. It's crackling. It's crackling so hard. Let's see. It's crackling so hard. Please work. It's still crackling. It's got to be something about the way it's going through OBS. I mean, that's the only thing I could think, because you're coming through my Discord perfectly clear, and the only thing... It's got to be something about the way it's going through OBS. I mean, that's the only thing I could think, because it can't be your microphone, because you sound completely fine with me, you know what I mean? Like, it's just on the stream. And the only thing that, like, you know, the end of that is OBS, right? Try a little more. Say some stuff. It's just on the stream. And the only thing that, like, you know, the end of that is OBS, right? It's gonna crackle, isn't it? Yeah, it's crackling so hard. Okay. I just don't know. I literally just didn't change anything. Obviously. Let me just try to go to another scene again.
This is the Pinemen.
Obviously. Yeah, a little bit. Oh, why does it gotta be like this? OBS voice crackling. Mac? No, don't tell me this is a common problem. Oh, why does it gotta be like this? Try this on two, both the recording audio crackles, not a streaming issue.
Mac? No, don't tell me this is a common problem.
Not a streaming issue. But the crackling just recently presented itself. Same issue. OBS, yeah, this is a common thing, I guess. Same problems. Why has it got to be this? Yeah. Oh my God, no. We're gonna have to voice over you. Oh my God. Crackling, clicking, popping. I don't know what to do because I don't even know how to, like, in order to do it, I would have to reset OBS and then that ends the stream. Okay. I mean, it's the total time that we've been going is 2 hours and 16 minutes, but you know, we had the intro playing for probably like 20 minutes, so it's probably been a little less than 2 hours, but like almost like. Okay. All right. Well, actually, I mean, I don't even have to go back because we've been up this whole time. I didn't even go to a transition screen or anything like that at this point. I mean, you know, I've been going back and forth. All right, so yeah, hopefully you guys really liked what I was just saying for the past like 20 minutes. I promise Eric was saying some really good stuff. I feel really privileged to have been the only one to have been able to hear it. Thanks, Eric, for that. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe we could do something to do it. Otherwise, we'll just have to cut it out. We'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks for checking it out. I mean, hey, you know, audio technical issues. Abundant. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is. Tupac. All right. Peace out.
This is the Pinemen.